You just shut your mouth. Don't even say it. But praising the fact that Brazil banned X, Elon Musk, that's an issue. Elon Musk responded to Waltz at least saying, clearly Democrats want to destroy the First Amendment. That's what gets me so much about this. Democrats don't want free speech. If they hear something, it's like, oh, that's evil, because they don't know how to hear something that they don't like. And they want to call it, evil and hateful just because you're hearing something you don't want to hear. If I went down all the list of people on X who rip my Catholic faith, it would blow your mind. That's hate speech, but they're not ripping that.
Yeah.
You go down the list of people ripping Jesus or Christianity. They're not ripping that on any of the platforms on Facebook and so forth. But guess what? This is what Tim Waltz and Kamala Harris are all about. And if that's what you want to vote for, fine. But don't say we didn't warn you here. Hey guys, welcome to cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust, Megan Marie Moret, Projo in the house as well. Glad to join you on this episode, the day after the holiday, Labor Day. And of course, it's the unofficial Monday of the week, even though it's Tuesday, which means there are like 40 stories for our fastest hour plus a few minutes in podcasting. Megan, you spent some time in Martha's Vineyard. Was it beautiful? Weather good?
Oh my gosh, it was wonderful.
Recharge the battery, or did you get more tired by going?
No, it was a good recharge. It was lots of sleep, lots of walking, good fresh food.
Oh yeah, the difference between you and I, you've been clamming and I've been noodling.
Yes. And I would not, I'm so glad that I went clamming, but I would not do noodling. I'm too much of a chicken for that.
And here's the thing. I don't think that I would want to do clamming if you're doing it with your feet.
Yes.
I'd rather stick my hand in some little muddy burrow underneath the water that I can't see than stick my feet and toes down in areas that you don't know what the hell's in there.
No, I'd rather lose a toe than a finger.
Oh,
I mean, can you imagine? I'm not going. I don't want a big
toe or
some
finger.
Kind of a fish, catfish with a mouth this big, taking my whole arm. No, thank you.
No,
and clams are small.
But if you give up your big toe, you can't walk. That's your balance. My grandpa had diabetes, had his big toe taken. He couldn't walk.
Well, if I would have,
I think I'd rather give up a hand digit than a foot digit.
There's no way. And they're not going to clamp down on you. It's not dangerous. It's just, as long as you know what you're doing and what you're getting into, you just wiggle them out with your toes and pull them up.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, you do. And you just want to wiggle it because they'll move on you. The clams will move.
Oh.
They will literally slip away. So sometimes you have to chase them with your toes. It's wild, but it was such a great experience. It was so much fun.
Well, this is cancelthisshow.com. We're here Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock Central Time right now. Who knows? That could change. We may do more. You can like, subscribe, share the show on all the platforms that we're on, including Facebook, X, Rumble, YouTube, and TikTok hopefully soon. We just need probably 50 more followers on, about 50 more followers on TikTok, and we can live stream there as well. Things are growing. We're grateful for that. It's because you guys like, subscribe, and share the show and let people know. We have the podcast platform for everybody jumping in. We appreciate your comments as well. It's really what separates the show. Okay, here we go. We've got a black female conservative called an Uncle Tom on a show on C-SPAN, and she sets people straight about Kamala Harris and why black people are voting for Donald Trump. The highest numbers of any modern president that is not black. An Irish teacher really arrested for not using a student's pronouns. If you don't think it can't happen here, think again, because it could at some point in time. The sickening display from Kamala Harris continues. I mean, she really, I don't think she even gives a shit. She'll use one accent here, one accent there. And it's just so, it's to me, it's one of those things where she just doesn't care about you, the person. She's like, I can get whatever I need to get over you. You're not intelligent. We'll get to that. Well, Joe Biden, the most vacation president in the history of this country, we'll give you stats on him. He comes out of vacationing to talk about how he's upset that his grandpa wasn't a Molly McGuire. We'll explain. By the way, he's only had 6 days in office in the last 30. He gave up. This is what the Democrats are about. This is what they have done. Yet there are still people who've been so brainwashed, so Trump derangement syndromed that they can't stop the craziness. We've also got new polling. I'm telling you, I don't know what's going to happen election day, but I'm telling you this. I don't believe the bullshit of mainstream media polling because I've been doing this for 25 years as a news anchor, and the down the middle polling agencies are the ones that I'm following. And I'm not following the popular vote. I'm following the electoral vote. We'll show that as well. Popular vote does not win in this country. We already know what that's about. Sad news, 6 hostages killed. Yeah, while Biden was vacationing. Just remember that, while Biden, including one American. That's sickening. Crime in New York, 75%. 75% of the arrests these days are by illegals. 75% in the Bronx, illegals.
That's surprising.
We'll get into that as well. And then, we got Mark Cuban also. He was upset that Elon Musk poll had Trump winning by like 80% to like 19. Mark Cuban did a poll. Same results. Trump dominated the Mark Cuban polling. So lots to get into. Whatever else we may miss, you guys let us know. We are not live on YouTube, Trisha. We have not been booted. That was part of the new system. What we have is we do the shows and then they continue to run to get more people on YouTube. And it may not make sense to you right now, believe it or not. You don't want to be live. Even our good friend Kelly Mano, who has millions and millions of followers, stopped going live because she was able to reach more people because of the algorithms with YouTube to go in a taped version. So no, we are not live on YouTube, but we have all the other places to watch us live right now that you know, which we were just talking about. I wanted to start, if it's all right, real quick with the whole Kamala Harris deal. Just real quick. Kamala Harris accent over the weekend. We've got her talking to people in Detroit and then talking to people in Pennsylvania. She tries to be black in Detroit because she's not black. We already know that. She's a mix. She's biracial. She is not black. She's Jamaican and Indian. Okay. She is a woman of color. She's not black. She's not African American. Elon Musk is more African American than Kamala Harris. Just remember that. So she is, in my humble opinion, basically looking at all those people like, you know what? I'm going to act like I need to act around you.
Yes.
Which shows that she could give a shit about you because she doesn't think you have the intelligence to understand what she is doing. Look at this video, Megan. It blows my freaking mind. Talking in Detroit, basically saying the same thing about union members and then how she talks to people in Pennsylvania. Yet there are still people who want to vote for her because of their pride when it comes to Donald Trump.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave.
Sister.
You better thank a union
Praise
member
the
for
Lord.
vacation time. Because what we know.
And that's a fact, Jack.
Yeah.
Now, Kamala in Pennsylvania.
Unions for sick leave. Thank unions for paid family leave. Thank unions for your vacation time. Thank unions for.
See how the accent changed. Yeah. So she's very aware of her audience. However, I don't think that her audience necessarily appreciates her getting up there and trying to pander to them based on where they are on
I
the
hope
map.
you're right, Megan, but I don't think they care because these are Democrats that laugh and cheer on Joe Biden, the worst president in history of the country, even when he says all this stuff. Megan says fraud. That's fraud.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you've got someone like
Landon
Tiger
says,
Woods.
bitch makes me want to puke.
Yeah. Tiger Woods comes out and says, hey, you know what? You acting like that and talking like that, that's an insult to me. That's an insult to,
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Black Americans.
Tiger Woods did say that.
He
Just
did.
remember, Tiger Woods, one of the 2 best golfers of all time. I'm still going to give Jack Nicklaus the head because he won more majors. And I like Jack and I interviewed Jack. I got to do a one-on-one with Jack one day and he was nothing but respectful. He sent me an autographed hat afterwards.
Oh, nice.
Love Jack Nicklaus. He is the best. Tiger's second best golfer of all time. Could have been the first, but well, he got in trouble with his putter, so to speak.
Yes, he did.
He got used to too many hole-in-ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
He liked to put the ball in the hole.
Oh,
a lot.
yeah. Okay.
And less strokes than anybody else.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, Joe, am I off track? I'm sorry. I'm getting track.
It's okay. I can handle it.
Tiger got crazy and wild, but he would have been the best golfer. But Tiger, he was the #1 advertiser anywhere in America. And then what happened? Because he didn't ever want to talk about politics. Now Tiger Woods talking about politics.
Yes, and he should. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to start voicing their concerns and their opinions with this upcoming election because things are bad. Things are really, really bad in this country. I used to think that it was a little bit a dramatization when you would hear Donald Trump say what a bad state we are in and how we are truly in the toilet, we are in the toilet. I mean, if you watched any bit of news over the weekend, you can really, really see that we are in a bad, bad state right now. And it is really, really scary.
Chris says Tiger Woods, more of a black man than knee-pad Cammy is a black woman, and he doesn't pander to anyone. The bottom line is that when Tiger comes out, who is very zipped up, buttoned up, very good, just very, I'm not going to take sides.
Yeah.
He came out and literally ripped Kamala Harris. That's a big deal, a very big deal.
Yeah.
And
well, she deserves it. I mean, for her to get up and start doing this, this act where, you better thank your union members, you better thank, this and that. And then she turns around and goes to another, city and is acting like she's, Queen Mother again, like she always does. Everything
what do you call it,
changes.
Queen Mother?
Queen Mother, where she's so proper and everything. She's very articulate and she says everything very slow and concise. I mean, it's a joke. And people, like you said, though, Vic, people are falling for it, and a lot of them don't care. And they're just,
if you're a Democrat, you're not, and this is what I've said before, and this is why I'm not worried unless there's massive amounts of illegal votes and dead people voting. If you're a Republican, you're voting Trump. If you're a Democrat, you're voting Cammy, and Trump is dominating independents right now. There's no possible way for Kamala to win this, even by the electoral standard. There is no way. She may win the popular vote, but she has no way of winning the electoral. And just remember, nobody's going to switch their minds at this point in the game. They're not, which is why I said, don't believe the hype. Don't believe the bullshit of mainstream media when it comes to the polling, because they can dictate polling by who they call, what areas they call, and they don't tell you what areas that they're calling, which is why you have to look at the mainstream media polling, which is what I've talked about so many times. It's a huge, huge undertaking right now to try to keep Donald Trump out of the White House. All you have to do, though, when you look at Kamala trying to pander to people, and she's using color, and this is what upsets me, is that she's being very disrespectful to African Americans in Detroit, and like trying to use what she would say is being uneducated on how she's talking.
Right.
But they don't care. So they don't care. But this was a great point. This is how we're seeing the tides turn. This woman on C-SPAN, black conservative woman, called an Uncle Tom because she was doing an interview and explaining how the Democrats in Georgia have completely left behind the African-American race. They only care about blacks when it comes to elections, and then they forget about them. And then their own leaders. And then you have the church leaders on Sundays. Oh, we got to follow the Democrats. And taking bribes behind the scenes because they're fake and phony as well, just like the Democratic Party. Well, she sets the record straight here. And this is so America 2024 when it comes to the support that Donald Trump is getting.
They're never going to let you in the club, okay? And you like the movie Django, you are the character of Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know the exact terminology, but not Uncle Tom, but like Uncle Tommy, or like you were a complete sellout.
First of all, it sounded like that was a non-black person telling me that. So as a Democrat, that sounds pretty racial and pretty divisive. Next, it's very interesting that I, again, would be called names or be compared to fictional characters because of who I choose to support. Again, these people who are calling and making these derogatory statements about me, who I choose to support, are denying the fact that, again, who are you to tell me that my personal experience is invalid? I think that that's something that a lot of Democrats need to look within, because how have you tried? Kamala Harris is in office right now and has not tried to do anything about the border, has not tried to not tax people on tips, and has not tried to do anything about our failing education system. So everything that she's promising she can do for you on day one, she could do right now, but she's not trying to. So that's something to, for some Dems to take home. So are you telling me that with all the black wealth that exists here in Atlanta, with all the black millionaires that live here in Atlanta, why in the world do 92% of APS students are illiterate? Make it make sense. And we have Democratic mayors, we have Democratic city council members, we have Democratic commissioners, and for whatever reason, 92% of the kids here cannot read. That statistic did not exist in Nevada. So again, I don't know if it was the fact that I got lucky. I can't say that, oh my God, it's the teachers that suck out here. I would never demean our educators here in Atlanta. But what we can acknowledge is the numbers, sir. And so while you want to call me not smart, please tell me what your side has done to fix the illiteracy rate that we see in our black children. Absolutely nothing. And in fact, not only have they not done anything to address the illiteracy issue, but then they're further confusing their kids by confusing your kids by telling them that men can give birth, by telling them that there's 53 genders, and that by telling them that your love for your best friend must mean that you are gay, you are a pansexual, asexual. Kids under the age of anything high school should not be thinking anything sexual, period. Sexual should not even be in their vocabulary. Yeah. So for you to say that I'm not smart because I'm willing to call out all of the degeneracy that exists within our current education system only points to your lack of intelligence and your lack of initiative to actually do something in regards to saving our children and saving our schools.
I'm stupid Democrat white guy. You're like the character from Django, Samuel L. Jackson. That's your liberal white male Democrat. Sorry. Yeah. She undressed him unmercifully.
And that's the problem, is that the Democratic Party, they just assume that the black community is not paying attention. They are paying attention. And women like this to come out and to say, look, I have done my homework. She's coming out with numbers. She's got statistics. She's putting it all on the line. Like, you're going to come at me and you're going to treat me like this party has treated our communities for so many years. I'm here to tell you, look, just because I'm black does not mean that I have to fall in line with what they're serving. I've done my homework. You are not showing up and doing for us what you say you're going to do, and I'm not having it anymore. And more people need to do that. And I think it's happening. I really do. I think that a lot of people are waking up, and kudos to this, young woman for doing what she needs to do. She knew exactly what she needed to say, and she did. She put that guy right in his place.
Just because you grow up in a ghetto does not mean you can't work hard enough to get out of it. Just because you have more drug dealers around you doesn't mean you can't succeed. The time has come where inner cities, as she was explaining, and a variety of issues cannot be used as excuses anymore. And you just sit back. Built-in excuses will kill a person. They will kill a race. They will kill a city. And this is why the Democrats have failed all over America. Their policies don't work. Kamala can't talk policy. And she certainly isn't going to be able to share a debate stage with Donald Trump talking real issues that care. And if we want to talk about polling, Donald Trump continues to dominate her when it comes to the number one policy issue, and it's the economy. She doesn't know what she's doing. There'll be lies, cheating, stealing. You know what they're going to do. And then when Donald Trump takes 20% of the black vote, it's going to be freaking amazing. Yes. Because African Americans are waking up, and they're waking up faster. They're waking up stronger, and they're letting, as you see, all kinds of people not being afraid to go public now and go, wait a second, we're not afraid anymore.
Yeah.
We got to give somebody else a chance, because white liberals have proven they do not have the blacks back. They just don't.
No. And, to talk about systemic racism, that's still, you'll still hear people talk about this. The people that are, still trying to use systemic racism as an excuse for people are the same people that are just assuming that black people in the black communities are not smart, that they don't know what to do or how to get out of the current situation that they're in. They're just as bright, just as intelligent as the next guy. But they are the ones who try to keep them down. They keep trying to dumb them down. They just, it's systemic racism. That's why they can't get out of, the situation that they're in. Like, they don't have a brain. They have brains. This is a perfect example. And, more credit needs to be given to these communities. And, if the Democratic Party thinks that they're going to keep getting away with holding these people down and making them rely on the government for every single thing, it's too late for that. And I love seeing this.
This is cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust, Megan Marie Moret, Pro Joe in the house as well here Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, 9 to 10 a.m. Central. But we're on everyday content released on all of the platforms that we're on, of course, with X and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, all over the place. We appreciate you guys jumping in. As Glenn says, once again, they're not smart enough to get an ID. You know, it's funny you bring that up. I saw a stat because we do a lot of studying. When Barack Obama ran for president, his last presidency, and I know he dominated, but he won every state where a photo ID did not have to be shown. Mm-hmm. He lost every state where a photo ID had to be shown. I know it may not make a difference in anything, but it really makes me think about where we are in 2024. Why are Democrats always so hard set? Really, feet stomped in the ground on no ID.
Yeah, why is that? I wonder.
I don't know. It made me think like, isn't that interesting?
Well, for voting, they definitely want an ID for everything else. I mean, you have to show an ID to, for any type of insurance. You have to show an ID, to get a voter registration card, but they don't think that you should do that for that, which I really don't understand the whole thought process behind it. I think it's just in a way for them to evade anyone knowing who they really are. And it's like, well, what are you up to?
Well, I mean, if you didn't realize already, Kamala Harris was Team Biden, and she's still Team Biden. She's the vice president. The president has spent 6 days out of the last 30 in office. I repeat, Joe, this is a travesty. Nobody's calling it out in America. We are. Where's the national media? Where's the local media calling out the fact that our president has worked 6 days in the last 30? How many of you can work 6 days in the last 30 and be fine? This mumbling, bumbling, stupid ass, evil man is still the freaking president of the United States by title, who is now coming, you can play the video, Joe, is now coming off yet another vacation. Once again, Joe Biden vacationing again over the weekend. And we'll get into this in a little bit, where 6 hostages were murdered by Hezbollah when he was on the chair. That's right. He is the president. He did nothing for those families, and including an American. As we sit back and we're told to have some compassion for these terrorists, these animals, these savages, these thugs, he was out vacationing yet again, because that's all he does. Once again, exact totals when it comes to this embarrassment, the worst president in the history of this country, who is side by side with the worst vice president in the history of this country, Kamala Harris. Here are the stats when it comes to his vacationing time. And if this doesn't blow your mind, and I've said it before, I have to say it again, because I'm tired of looking at all of the crap when it comes to Joe Biden and all of his freaking vacationing. We're talking 40.3% of his presidency has been spent on vacation. Mm-hmm. 40.3% has been spent on vacation days for that old decrepit fool, that evil man and his evil crime syndicate family, which has gone away, all of the news, because he's gone away. As we told you on the show over a year ago, what would happen? He would be used as the fall guy to, all that stuff was with him. We're just going to push him out of office and forget about everything with Hunter. And now it's been proven the laptop was real, and the crime syndicate family was real, and the using the name in China and Ukraine for personal gain was real. It's all been proven real. Yeah. And here we are. And we look at that decrepit little fool walking on the sand.
Sally
the joke has been played on Americans, and it frustrates me because there are still some Americans who are not intelligent enough to see this.
Yeah. Sally said that the poor guy had to carry his diaper bag for him. I would love to see those Secret Service guys.
I said I wasn't going to laugh at him anymore, because I will never let myself, Megan, feel sorry for that old man as he gets ready to breathe his final breath, because of the evil that man perpetuated during his political career, specifically in the presidency, knowing what he was doing, knowing that he was lying about what Hunter Biden was doing and God knows what else. And because he used his presidency to go after Donald Trump, and because of him allowing, or at least being in charge when a bullet almost took the life of Donald Trump, which people still like to forget about. He was the president when this happened, and his administration has been a thorn in the side for those trying to discover more information about what happened and who was responsible.
Yeah, it is hard to feel sorry for him because when you see videos like this.
So he's not a good man. He deserves every bit of horrible thing because in life, you get what you plant.
Yes.
You reap what you sow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He deserves every bit of bad that he gets before he goes and meets his maker.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, I mean, it is hard to feel sorry for him because every time he has an opportunity to speak, when he's, not on his beach chair, he lies and he just continues to lie and he continues to say things about Donald Trump that are just not true. And now he's got Kamala Harris doing the exact same thing right behind him, saying lie after lie after lie about Donald Trump. And, it is. I mean, you'd like to think that let the guy go off into the sunset, let him lay on a beach chair for the rest of his days. But he's still running our country, folks. He is still our commander in chief. And here he is. I mean, he can barely get to and from his beach chair. And we've got major, major things going on in this country right now. And the other thing that I'd like to point out is every time something happens within the last couple of weeks that goes on in our country, Kamala Harris is speaking on it. For the last 4 years, we have not heard her speak on anything. We have been begging. We have been waiting. We have been asking. Just speak on the border, for instance. She hasn't said anything. Now, all of a sudden, she's the puppet. And they're asking her from the hostages to the Middle East to Ukraine. She's the go-to now all of a sudden. Don't forget that the Democratic Party did not like her, has not liked her. The most unfavored, unlikable vice president ever in the history of the United States. And here she is answering all of the important questions. Biden came out, what was it, yesterday? He mumbled a little bit about, what was going on with the hostages. I still don't think he knew what he was answering to. We're just in negotiations. We're in negotiations. I mean, that's all he could say is that we're in negotiations. It's like, well, we know that, buddy. I mean,
Trish says China's running our country. Bendy says he's never been running things. Kamala won't be either. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I get it.
If Tim Walz has his way, China would be running our country.
And that's sad too.
Yes.
Jeannie says karma's a bitch for Biden. He deserves every bit of bad that he gets when it comes to this whole situation. It's just embarrassing. And then on top of it, coming off another vacation while an American hostage was killed.
Yeah. 5
other Israelis. While this dumbass, selfish, evil man was vacationing yet again. We're talking almost a year, 10 months later, still hostages.
Yeah.
And that evil piece of crap is still vacationing, not getting back people. Think about one of your loved ones being in that situation. Well, this dumbass evil liar was out trying to freaking have another vacation and relax. And, oh, I'm doing that. While Democrats who are in control of the whole situation are doing nothing while your loved one was being videotaped before they were executed on video, by the way. And this is what pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, pro-Hezbollah is all about. And they're not calling out or condemning these killings at all. They're not. They're blaming Israel. And even dumbass Biden was even kind of like, oh, well, it's kind of Israel's fault. Yeah, I mean, it's bad. But then this guy, this piece of shit is what he is. And I get very angry when people are dying, especially Americans, when he's vacationing and 40% of his presidency has been spent on vacation. Yet you have Democrats who will not call this out. Shame on you. You're cowards. You're an absolute coward if you still want to vote for Kamala and not call this out. You are.
Yeah.
Prove to us that you're wrong, that we're wrong, because you can't. Cowards. People are dying because of this man. And then listen to what Biden said yesterday. This guy is running the country. Give you some context. He's talking about his grandpa being in Ireland and kind of, I think he's trying to say he was kind of upset that he wasn't a Molly Maguire, a term used for basically Irish terrorists who would kill people and then throw the bodies on the porch of their families. And this man is such a mumbling, bumbling idiot. You try to make sense of this.
Do I have a video of him talking about? I have the Irish guy that got.
Oh, no, you don't have the video?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. I'll get it back for you. I sent it, but it didn't go in there. What he did, basically what he said, he was.
Oh, wait, never mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He doesn't know if he's Puerto Rican or if he's Irish. He's just he's just
here he is.
I remember when my great-grandfather was only the second Catholic elected statewide to the state Senate here in Pennsylvania. And I remember they talked about when they're running against him in 1906, they said, guess what? They said, he's a Molly Maguire. You know what a Molly Maguire was? Well, those of you who don't, a Molly Maguire, back in the old days, when we Irish and the Catholics came, and then the Poles and others that were Catholic, when they came to the United States of America in the beginning of the 1840s, and late 1840s, they made their way down into Pennsylvania. A lot of them, and there's a tier in the coal mines. Those guys who got there last ended up being the last people in the coal mines. But a lot of the English owned the coal mines, and what they did was they'd really beat the hell out of the mostly Catholic population that was in the mines. Not a joke, not a joke.
That's a lie.
But there was a group that called the Molly Maguires. And the Molly Maguires, if they find out the foreman who was taking advantage of an individual, and they literally kill him. Not a joke. And they bring his body up and put him on the doorstep of his family.
Look at Kamala in the background. Look at his face. This guy, this is the president of the free world.
They accused my great-grandfather of being a Molly. He wasn't. But we were so damn disappointed. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. Look.
He's such a goof. I mean, the guy has no clue. Smile. Did you hear in the beginning? He goes, I remember back in 1906. Oh, do you, Joe? I remember back in 1906.
Yeah, it's hard. I just can't laugh and smile at him anymore, which is, I'm sorry. It's like, I never wish, and I never wish anything bad upon anybody. People who do bad things, man, I don't.
Yeah.
I want peace, but that man deserves every bad that he gets.
And what was the point to that story?
No idea.
I mean, just giving people a quick history lesson on Irish Catholics that come and work in the mines. I mean, he talks about absolutely nothing, just like Kamala does. They talk about nothing. They make up these stories and then they just talk in circles and word salad it up with a little extra dressing and that's it.
Megan, he wasn't even talking about the hostages that were killed.
Of course
he promised that he would take care of this. He didn't do shit. And that's why I'm so upset this morning about that standpoint. When I see pictures of the 6 hostages killed and you hear the stories about how they were killed and how they were treated, men and women, because, October 7th happened and life never went back to the same. Yeah. Yet he didn't do anything. America didn't do anything. And then Israel gets blamed. Are you kidding me? And then we still have these savages in the street. Oh, we're about peace. They're back at Columbia University today as classes begin because they're just trying to disrupt. Oh, we're peace. We want peace. And they're the furthest thing from peace. These are men and women who are savages. These are men and women who don't want peace. It's all a lie. It's all a bunch of crap. Murdering, not calling out the murdering of these hostages, men and women, innocent bystanders, taken. And Joe's talking about freaking Molly Maguires and his grandpa trying to crack jokes and Kamala's laughing. And then the worst part are the idiots in the background. Oh, we're going to follow you because we're the sheeple. Mm-hmm. No, I can't smile and have fun on a Tuesday morning following Labor Day when that happens.
Yeah. More than anything, though, I of course, I'm upset with Joe Biden for the fact that he's on a beach while we are having more hostages killed, one of them being an American citizen and a young man. But what really upsets me is the continuing of these disgusting pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian terrorist riots. I'm going to call them riots that are in our streets as of today. Why have they not said one single thing about Hamas? Why have they not called out the terrorists? Are they that hateful? Are they that bitter? And are they that mentally ill that they have absolutely zero compassion for the 6 hostages that were just killed? One of them being an American citizen. Why? They don't say one single thing about it. And all you hear are, oh, well, we're in negotiations. We're in negotiations. We need a ceasefire. Last night, for the first time, I thought, you know what? Forget about the ceasefire. They need to go in, Israel, and take care of business. You cannot negotiate, okay? I repeat, you cannot negotiate with terrorists. They're sitting there laughing. Just when we think that we're about to reach a deal, which we were inching closer and closer to a deal with Hamas, they turn around and at point blank range, shoot 6 of the hostages. They are laughing in your face, in our faces, and nobody wants to hold these people accountable. Absolutely no one.
Well, the media won't. So you have to know that's the problem. And this is on Biden and it's on Kamala Harris.
Well, the thing is, they want to keep telling Israel what to do. They want to tell them, no, we need to do it like this. We need to do it like this. If you don't do it like this, we're going to stop sending you supplies, military defense weapons. We're not going to help you with the Iron Dome, so on and so forth. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris need to step back, shut their mouths, and let Israel do what they need to do. But
they're not going to. I mean, we already know that this country is under siege. It's been under siege from the inside from a very long time, from a variety of areas. And that's why the only way to get this country back for at least 4 years is to go do what you have to do November 5th to make sure that Donald Trump is the president. Because once again, we already see what's happening when it comes to this man. Continues to be attacked, continues to be threatened with jail, but the man is the only politician who's ever become a politician, and his life got worse and continued to get worse. And he became poor because he is trying to help America. And it's damn black and white. The other thing is when it comes to the polling, for what's happening. And this is why I still have hope. This is why I still have faith when it comes to polling, despite the rigging that's going to take place, is the fact that you still have a situation in this country where electoral voting is what matters. It's the electoral map. It's not the popular vote. And when you look at the polling that we have here from Nate Silver, who has also recently predicted that Kamala could win, is also showing now that Trump leads her by almost 12 points in the Electoral College. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you right now, this is very difficult to overturn, and it will be. And this is why I continue to say, don't look at all the polling that national media shows you, including Fox. Even Donald Trump has called out the Fox News polling that they'll use. 55.8% to 44% when it comes to Nate Silver, when it comes to the Electoral College probability. And it's not just the Electoral College from that standpoint either. There are several other polling agencies when it comes to the Electoral College. For instance, over the weekend, the Trafalgar Group, the Insider Advantage polling when it comes to the electoral map, has Donald Trump winning convincingly over Harris, the Electoral College. I'm telling you, people, don't listen, don't watch national, local media because they're not doing the research. They're just not. You have to go and find the agencies where it is their job, and they do this. But national media is not going to show you this polling. You know why? Because it favors Donald Trump, including Fox News. Mm-hmm. Yes. Sorry, it is what it is.
Well, in the popular vote, I mean, it is just so obvious that the popular vote is Donald Trump. I mean, look at him when he goes into a rally. I mean, there are people lined up for miles just to see him drive by. There is no way that the popular vote goes to Kamala Harris. Absolutely not.
It's all the voting, and we'll find out what happens with the voting and what's real and what's not, and fake voting and ballots and voter rolls and dead people and illegals. And of course, as we said, not one Democrat in Congress has voted. Not one Democrat in Congress has voted to have an ID for voting.
No, but you had to have it. That was the other point I wanted to make, is that you had to have an ID to get into the DNC. And there were people that were showing up. There were immigrants that were showing up trying to get into the DNC. And it's all on video. They were not let in because they did not have an ID. So yet, they're going to let them turn around and vote for them come November. No problem at all.
Also, when it comes to the voting, Elon Musk a week and a half ago did his polling, and it was like 80% Trump. Mm-hmm. Mark Cuban didn't like it because Mark Cuban's a crybaby, and he is one of those deep state cabal liberal men selling their soul for riches, fame, and glory, and hates Donald Trump, and he has Trump derangement syndrome. He's like, I'm going to show you. I'm going to do my own poll. Mark Cuban, as he gets put in his place so many times, I'd love to meet him and just go round and round with him.
Oh, me too.
Just because I would destroy. He has a brilliant business mind. I'd like to learn from him from a business standpoint, but then I would have to destroy him when it came to politics and policy because the man is an idiot when it comes to policy. And pride cometh before a fall. Mark Cuban's like, well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to do my own poll. Mark Cuban's poll on who would be the president. Who you want? 69% Donald Trump, 31% Cammie.
Yep.
Mark, go back. Shark Tank, you're fine on Shark Tank. That's it.
Him and Don Lemon, they should team up and go out and just try to find one person that will vote for Kamala Harris because they're not having any luck right now. And, it's just funny to watch these people go out and try to prove a point and to get it just turned right back on them.
I like this. How about that? Oh, well, yeah. Well, you brought up Don Lemon went out so many times with CNN. He was shocked. And we showed this video. He was shocked. Don Lemon was shocked telling CNN at how many women support Trump, how many black women support Donald Trump, despite what the media is trying to tell you. He's like, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
I could not believe how many Trump supporters there are in the African-American community, which is what we found out when we went out there.
And he was trying too. He was giving it his best shot. He just went and asked person after person after person.
Black liberal married to a white man trying to destroy Donald Trump. And he couldn't.
Yeah. And trying to call white men in America racist, and you're married to one.
I like this.
Explain that.
From the chat line on the podcast platform, Greg says woke means willfully overlooking known evil.
That's right. That's exactly what it is.
And that's what we try to destroy here. We break through the wokeness and try to bring you truth. And then you guys decide what you want to do because we're worried about the facts. We're not worried about feelings first. It's about facts first and then feelings. And then those things that continue to happen in our life. I mean, we have these stories that are happening day after day and things that are happening in this community, which we're trying to bring to light because we're tired of the crap that's going on.
Yeah.
Case in point, if you don't think this could happen in America, it could. And this is what Kamala Harris and the Democrats are about. They're about pronouns. They're about BS stuff. You literally had an Irish professor in Ireland arrested because he was refusing, and you can show the video, Joe, when he's refusing to use pronouns in Ireland. It's happening in Australia as well. This is not the type of issue that Americans are worried about or should be worried about when it comes to freaking elections. Yet this kind of stuff is happening. This professor, this guy.
I have a right to work here. He has a right. I have a right to be here. And
You're arresting
not
him.
to tell students they need to tell puberty blockers.
You're arresting him because he won't endorse transgender ideology. Shame upon you.
Here at Wilson's Hospital School, Enoch Park, teacher being arrested for not accepting transgenderism.
Nor should I. And I'm not going to turn my back on my duty to my students.
I'm not going to turn back on my duty.
No, you don't have a duty to do what's wrong.
No, you never
and
have
to
a
bring
duty
me
to
before
do
the
what's
court. To bring me before the court. No, to bring me before the court.
This
is a disgrace. Children are being taught to tell a young boy.
Surgery.
Yes. Surgery, mutilation.
Yes.
Mutilation.
It's a disgrace.
Mutilation.
An absolute disgrace.
You're telling a boy that he's gender neutral. Yeah, that he has to take chemicals. That he has to take chemicals. That he has to take chemicals.
Be heavy-handed.
No, that he has to take chemicals.
I'm not going to be heavy-handed.
He has broken
Shame upon you. Shame upon you, Garvey. Shame upon you.
You've no right to do this.
This is an innocent teacher, a Christian man. Shame upon you, Garvey Shiakona.
Mr. Burke has broken no law. He has broken no law.
I have a right to my job. I have a right to work here.
He has a right.
I have a right to be here. And
You're arresting
not
him.
to tell students they need to tell puberty blockers.
You're arresting him because he won't endorse.
And now you see what we got. We've seen this part of it. This is the world that we live in 2024. Does that seem normal? I'm sorry to localize it. That's what the Democratic Party is pushing in America. And if that's what you want, so be it. Okay, fine, go do it. But we're not going to do it, and I'm not going to promote it on this show because we do believe in free speech. Unlike Brazil, which is now banned X, and they're trying to do it in America in a variety of ways. Literally banned Elon Musk X, say that he owes $3.28 million in fines because they think they don't agree with what's on Twitter, so they're saying it's hate speech. Once again, they're coming for our freedoms in a variety of areas all across the world and in the United States, and that's what a Kamala Harris platform is all about.
Yeah, and I'd like to just break this video down for people that have a hard time understanding why this is wrong, why this man, this teacher, this Christian teacher being arrested is wrong. It's simply because this man cares enough about his students and is being the responsible adult in the room and is saying, no, I am not going to tell you that you are gender neutral. No, I am not going to tell you that you need puberty blockers. No, I am not going to affirm the fact that you need gender surgery, that you want to go and allow a doctor to mutilate your body. He is being the truthful one in the situation, and he is being punished for it, for simply saying, no, you are a boy or you are a girl. Let's go with that and let's work forward with that, instead of saying all of these lies and all of this disgusting just mistruths about who these kids are. And he's being punished for it. That's all that's happening here. He's not saying he wants to hurt anybody or do anything bad to anybody. He's trying to do the opposite. And it's so sad and disgusting. And if America doesn't think that this is spreading wider and wider and wider, and it's going to be over here, it's in my, humble opinion, it's already here. We just don't see.
But that's why people need to speak up and call it out. The more you speak out against it and not be afraid to ruffle feathers, the better you are. Once again, we have always said, stay away from violence, stay away from breaking the law. Some people disagree with me for saying that, but you've got to be persistent, polite. You've got to freak. And if you're going to protest, you do it in a peaceful manner. You do it in a way that is not breaking the law. But my God, you have to stand up and you have to say something, because if you don't, you're like, well, I just want to sit over here and say, no, I'm afraid. I don't want to say anything. And you'll get run over. It is 2024, people. Times have changed.
You can never, ever feel bad at the end of the day about speaking truth. The truth is the truth is the truth. You cannot change it. You cannot twist it. You cannot cover it up. You just have to be willing to do that, and good things will come. It might take a minute or two, but I'm telling you, if people just start standing up to the truth, that's the only way that we're going to be able to make a difference and step up next to these progressive liberal maniacs.
But there's maniacs all over the world. I mean, look at our Marines. We had Marines. You can show the video, Joe, in Turkey over the weekend being grabbed by Turkish groups, 16 men grabbing 2 American Marines. And the Marines showed great restraint, because I guarantee they could have taken some of these guys down. I guarantee it. Don't F around with a Marine ever. And I mean, these are our Americans just minding their own business. Basically what they were chanting is "Go home, Yankee." Turkey is also a country that wants to be a part of BRICS. I saw your comment, Robert. They are very much on the side of Hezbollah and Hamas, pro-Palestinian. They're very against Israel, accusing the United States of having issues and problems and causing terror. So we have all kinds of things that are going on in this world. Just for 2 Americans being in Turkey. I mean,
well, and these guys, they're military men, and they are there on a small ship, and they're there only because of the crap that's going on in the Middle East. 15
people, by the way, were arrested.
Yes,
as we're
they
told.
were. And you know what? The police actually they acted quickly, surprisingly enough. But these guys, they're in for the day, just to get off of this boat, just to kind of stretch their legs, get some fresh air, and this happens to them. These people are savages. And it's just hard to imagine the men that are literally giving their lives, their time away from their family.
Where's Biden? Where's Biden and Harris?
Support this, exactly. And then they can't even get off of the boat to go and just, have a day to themselves without being literally just harassed and to have something thrown over your head like that.
Guarantee Donald Trump would have been saying something, would have been putting somebody on notice from that standpoint. World leaders may not like Donald Trump, but they respect the hell out of him.
Yeah.
They don't like Biden and Kamala, and they don't respect them because they know that they're fools. They know that they're weak. They know that they're puppets, and they know that they will not stand up for what's best for Americans. And those are the situations that are problems. I guarantee things would be different. You don't mess with Americans across these, especially freaking Marines, in situations like that. We show you what's going on to show you everything that's happening in this country, which is why you do have a voice, and we encourage you to use it in a polite way to stand up for what's right, what you know is right, because it's clear as day what's right in most instances. It really is.
Yeah.
And Americans need to stand up and be strong from all of these situations that are being thrown at us on a daily basis.
And it is hard to be polite. When you see things like this happen, or that teacher being arrested, it makes your blood just boil. And it is so hard to be polite, but you don't get anywhere acting like the left does. Look what's going on in our streets. Look at all the riots and the protests that were, left derived. You don't get anywhere by acting like that, by acting like animals. This guy, that teacher, or these military men, they can go to bed at the end of the day and feel good about themselves and who they are.
But that animalistic approach is happening with Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. And I'm going to bring it back to them. I mean, because I brought up the fact that Brazil, where the NFL is going to play a game next week. They are going to Brazil to play a game. And Brazil just banned free speech with X.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this. Now, the NFL won't pull a game, even though there are groups who are saying you need to do this because the NFL is as woke as it gets. They're an absolute joke when it comes to that situation. They're always on kneeling and they're on unpatriotic. They'll try to act like they care, but they don't. You literally had Tim Walz saying this was a good thing. This is a VP, even though he didn't win any election to become VP, he was brought along, just like Kamala didn't win anything. She was brought along using the system. This guy, if you just shut your mouth, don't even say it, but praising the fact that Brazil banned X, Elon Musk. That's an issue. Elon Musk responded to Waltz at least saying, clearly Democrats want to destroy the First Amendment. That's what gets me so much about this. Democrats don't want free speech. If they hear something, it's like, oh, that's evil.
No.
Because they don't know how to hear something that they don't like. And they want to call it, evil and hateful just because you're hearing something you don't want to hear. If I went down all the list of people on X who rip my Catholic faith, it would blow your mind. That's hate speech, but they're not ripping that.
Yeah.
You go down the list of people ripping Jesus or Christianity. They're not ripping that on any of the platforms on Facebook and so forth. But guess what? This is what Tim Walz and Kamala Harris are all about. And if that's what you want to vote for, fine. But don't say we didn't warn you here.
Well, and Kamala Harris, she has zero issue with having the government oversee everything that is put out on social media. Why? Because she doesn't want the truth to be out. She has no problem saying that people need to be accountable for spreading misinformation or mistruths. It's not. It's all factual. It's all truth. And that's what they don't want people to hear or see. So she wants to have everything regulated. She does not believe in free speech, people, at all. If she did, then she would have absolutely no problem with people putting out there everything that we know about her, everything that she's done as a district attorney, an attorney general, a senator. She would have zero problem with it. But guess what? She's trying to hide it. She's trying to hide her record. She's trying to hide the fact that she was the one who championed Proposition 47.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one who, doesn't want anybody to think that she was soft on crime. Oh, she was. And, look at California. I mean, even look at, speaking of the NFL, look at the guy that was shot in the chest in San Francisco. That place is it's a sewer. It is a sewer with nothing but bottom feeders, and it's all because of people like Kamala Harris.
Well,
it's horrible.
We've talked about her upbringing, her Marxist professor dad. It's not a surprise. There's a reason why Donald Trump calls her Comrade Cammy. It's not just to be disrespectful. It's because those are her values. Those are what we've seen from a policy standpoint. She doesn't talk much. And by the way, her interview going into the holiday weekend that ran last Thursday night, late at night, it was a disaster. And she was killed, relatively speaking, from a publicity standpoint by CNN anchors. They couldn't even say it was good over the weekend, how bad her interview. And that's the only interview we've had. And she did it with Tim Walz. So we're just bringing up the facts, not feelings, facts. Her interview was terrible. She couldn't talk policy. The two of them together did not look good. It was staged. It was choreographed. Dana Bash will give her credit. She asked some tough questions that Kamala couldn't answer. She just couldn't. I mean, it was as bad as it gets. And she dropped, even her independent polling dropped numbers, whatever you want to say with that. But she can't do the polling. She won't talk policy. Donald Trump's out every day doing it. If she was out talking policy and we actually had something to compare with, it would be different. And we would talk about facts. But there aren't any facts when it comes to Kamala, when it comes to policy, and when it comes to actually how she's going to help American people. She has these lines that she recites. They're lines, but it's not actual policy on how people will be helped. The lines are about stirring up emotions because, as we have learned, and we're sad for this, most Democrats get excited with emotions. They're all about emotions, and this is how I feel, and I deserve this and that. Republicans are about facts and policy. And that's the most important thing, because we know where the meat and potatoes are going to be, or in Megan's case, her fish and potatoes.
That's right.
And the stuff that you absolutely have to have, not the cotton candy. Oh, this makes me feel so good. This is so right.
Well, 17 minutes of, what was it? Probably over an hour. It was an over an hour interview, and only 17 minutes was put out there for us to see. So if that doesn't go to show you that the rest of it was it was worse than the 17 minutes we saw. And, I give kudos to Dana Bash. She really did do her job. She tried to get Kamala Harris to answer things. She was evading, answering questions that we want to know, that the American people deserve to know on policy, and she would not do it. And
it was on purpose. Thursday night, 9:00 at night, going into a holiday weekend.
That's right.
There is a reason. And the only reason the Democrats, the deep state, the cabal is doing this is because they know they can. They can get away with it because enough Americans have not stood up and said something. And maybe it's because they know they got this in the bag when it comes to how they're going to handle the election. I don't know. It's certainly a possibility when you look at certain states trying to get millions, not hundreds of thousands, but millions of people off voter rolls that are fake, that are illegal, or dead.
That's right.
It's literally happened in Texas, and it's literally happened in other states.
Can you believe that we are in a time in our country where we are fighting to have people show up with an ID to vote?
And it was recorded, Megan, by the way. Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah. Yes, it was. It was pre-recorded. It was not live. Even though CNN, on the bottom right of the screen, it said CNN live. They had to go back and explain that the next day because it was not live. It was pre-recorded. And we got 17 minutes of it. But yeah, so
I feel so bad for Democrats who are so stupid. They're just dumb. I mean, they really are stupid. And stupid Democrats like I do.
Oh, lots of them.
Yeah.
You do. But there's nothing that you can do.
I know people who the world will call, attorneys who they're so smart. Doctors, they're so smart. Business owners, they're so smart. And they're dumber than boxes of rocks because they want to vote.
Well, that or they're just evil because everything she represents.
I hate Donald Trump.
Yeah, everything that she represents, everything that the left represents right now, it's not right. It's just evil.
Democrats,
and if you back that up, you just wonder how can you be okay with all of this? Yeah, there's a few things that they might like about the Republican Party or what Donald Trump stands for. But they're not going to vote for him no matter what because he's Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with policy or what he wants for our country or what he's already done for our country.
I heard a Jewish woman on Fox News this morning saying, well, I just can't. I hate what the Democratic Party's doing, but I can't vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
She said it on Fox News this morning.
Oh, I've heard so many people. I told you, Vic, about my son's fraternity brother. After I questioned why he wanted Kamala Harris to be the next president, I questioned him and he finally just was exhausted from all of my questions. And he's like, look, I just don't like Donald Trump. He's just a jerk. And I'm like,
and they won't look at policy.
No, this is not a popularity contest.
Yeah, that's just immaturity. There's a lot. Democrats are just immature when it comes to this area because honestly, they don't want to have an honest conversation.
It's like, come on, just take a look at what's going on in our country.
We can pray for them and hope, but
I don't
know.
That'd take a long time. I got to pray for myself too. Golly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all just really, really, really bad. And that's what we continue to try to push forward to make sure that we're bringing truth forward and everything. I just have hope because of what I brought up when it comes to the electoral mapping. And we already know what national media and local media is going to do. Mm-hmm. They're not going to bring out what's actually happening. They're not going to bring out the truth. They're not going to show all of this horrible with Kamala, but we will. Mm-hmm. We're going to show you truth. And if it's horrible, it's horrible. If it's not, it's not. And such is the case. But I can tell you this much. Donald Trump continued to have another good weekend. He wasn't out and about yesterday, but his rallies are still massively packed. Yeah. He now has Puerto Rican rappers and Puerto Ricans backing him because they know that he freaking cares. People see.
Yeah.
Those who haven't suffered from Trump derangement syndrome and are selfish and prideful are all about Donald Trump because they see it.
You know what? And someone on the chat line just said you wouldn't date a man that you didn't like. No, I wouldn't. But guess what? I would hire an attorney that was going to battle to fight for my life and my safety and my security. I would vote for someone like that. I would. I might not want to date my doctor, my brain surgeon, if I had to have brain surgery. But guess what? That's going to be my number one pick. It has nothing to do with wanting to snuggle up and get all warm and fuzzy with who we're voting for. It's quite the opposite.
That came from the chat. What a stupid, immature comment.
I know, wasn't it? You wouldn't date a man you didn't like. No, of course I wouldn't.
So sophomore.
But But I'm not. That's not what I'm interviewing for. I want someone that's going to, make sure that me and my family are safe, that we can afford to live, that we can afford to pay for, shelter, home, education, all of those things. And you know what? In health. So no, that was just really a dumb comment.
I did want to bring one thing up too that I saw. According to Leading Report, I thought this was interesting. Democrat mail-in ballot request in Pennsylvania have dropped by 132,000 since 2020 at the exact same time. Does it mean anything? I don't know, but I thought it was interesting enough to pass along.
Yeah. So
is it a sign of what's happening? Because I'm telling you, Pennsylvania is on fire for Trump. They're not on fire for freaking Kamala. They're just not. They're not. Look at the rallies. You can tell. Who knows what will try to be done with the balloting. But that gave me hope when it came to Donald Trump.
Yeah. But like I said earlier, that's until they come up with some mysterious, monkey pox.
Oh, no, don't say that.
Hippopotamus flu. Some kind of craziness where they try to scare everybody and say, you cannot leave the house. You cannot come outside. Tim Walz is going to put the snitch line back up if you try to leave your house, mail in. So, these people they'll do anything. They really will. So, we still have some time before this election. So
Donna also adds that there are now more registered Republicans than Democrats in Pennsylvania. And that is huge. That is a huge statement considering where that state has been and what they have seen. And they're like, wait a second, we already know Donald Trump dominates on economy. He understands business. He understands America. He understands foreign affairs. This country was so much better when he was president than it is now after 4 years of Biden-Harris. They get it. And they're not letting accents and all the fake stuff and the media get the best of them like many other Democrats do.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping that the last 4 years was enough for people, even the lifelong Democrats. I hope that people are really, just wising up to the fact that the Democrats are not going to do anything for you. You're not going to see inflation go down. You're going to see this roller coaster of the economy just shifting every day. And it's for worse, not better. You're going to continue to see unrest in our streets. You're going to continue to see, Muslims and, anti-Israel protests. You're going to continue to see, people that truly want to tear the foundation of our country apart. And it's just getting worse. And so I hope that, when we do have Donald Trump back in, that we can, grab the bull by the horns and get this country back on the right track. What is happening right now in our country, it's really upsetting, quite honestly. I mean, when would you ever have thought that people would be able to come into our country illegally and take over our communities by force.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's happening in America. This is not a third world country, although it is on its way if we don't get things under control. But, you know, blue cities need to remind themselves that you voted for a lot of what's happening in your communities. You voted for it. So I don't know if you thought that it wasn't going to happen to you. Oh, it surely wouldn't happen in my own neighborhood. Well, guess what? It is. And so as soon as you wake up and vote the right people in, some of this stuff will stop.
Before we get out of here, I wanted to give some credit to, I talked about independents earlier and how they're voting for Trump. Right now, Trump has a double-digit lead with independents, and I believe it, according to the latest survey from the Economist/YouGov poll. The same YouGov poll in other situations that had Kamala in the past doing fairly well. So just remember that. So I wanted to make sure that I gave context to what I was talking about from that standpoint. Also, you were talking about, I don't know. We'll see if maybe for the Thursday show, authorities closed down those apartment complexes that were taken over by M13 Venezuela gangs. Mm-hmm. Then allegedly hundreds of Hells Angels over the weekend are on their way to Colorado to take care of business themselves, which was a delight to my ear. Then there was also news giving you updates that over the weekend that there were also now Venezuelan gangs trying to take over apartment complexes in Chicago. Should not be surprised. And if you didn't hear me talk about it earlier now, and if this doesn't show you what is happening in our country, which is why you have to stand up, which is why you can't just go, oh, well, let's just be nice to everybody, even though we may think it's wrong, which is why you have to have some values, some morals, and why there are laws so that it stops chaos from happening. Migrants in New York City are now making up 75%. These are illegals making up 75% of the arrests in Midtown. That according to a report from New York Post. If that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what would. 75% of those individuals arrested in recent months in Midtown New York City, Manhattan, for offenses including assault, robbery, and domestic violence. 75% of the arrests are illegals. We told you it was coming to a city near you, and we're going to continue to fight and do the right fight here. If you want to make a donation, you can go to our website, canceltheshow.com. You can donate from your phone or laptop. Anything helps us continue our free speech, what we're going to continue to do. We're here Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 9 to 10 a.m. right now. Maybe we'll expand it at a later point in time, but we're just grateful for all the support that we have on all of the social media platforms. And of course, you can get our content. We're downloading it all the time, Monday through Friday, all of the content in shorts and reels as well. Anything else? Does that do it?
No.
Happy belated birthday to Pro Joe. He had a birthday over the weekend. People want to go to the chat line and wish him a happy birthday. Joe,
thank you.
60 never looked so good on you, buddy.
Oh, you're funny.
We're just grateful for what we do here, and thank you guys for making it possible. So we'll call it a show. Have an awesome Tuesday for Pro Joe and Megan Marie Moret. I'm Vic Faust. That does it for the fastest hour plus in podcasting. Thank you for all of your support. We'll catch you guys next time.
See you Thursday.